Okay. It's my understanding that the state and the defense have negotiated a plea and sentence. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
You may proceed, Ms. Fox.
Yes, Your Honor. The negotiated plea and sentence that we have reached with the defense is that the defendant will enter a plea of no contest to the charge of second-degree murder with a firearm. On that count, he will be sentenced to, he will receive a 25-year minimum mandatory sentence. He will also enter a plea of no contest to counts 2 through 6 on the information, which are aggravated battery with a firearm, all of which are second-degree felonies, punishable by up to 20 years. And he will enter a plea of no contest to possession of firearm by delinquent felon. Count 7 of the information, which is a second-degree felony, punishable by 15 years. His sentence that we have negotiated would be a 30-year sentence in the Florida Department of Corrections. 25 years of that, Your Honor, would be a minimum mandatory. And of course, Your Honor, counts 2 through 6 would also all carry a 20-year minimum mandatory. All to run concurrent.
Mr. Masori, is that the agreement?
Yes, sir. All the run concurrent and also with credit for all time served.
Okay. Can I have the plea form?
Yes.
The only thing I'm going to add to the plea form is the court costs, which are $413. Mr. Bonilla, would you please stand? Raise your right hand for me, sir. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
You can put your hand down. State your name.
Jose Paul Bonilla.
Your date of birth, sir.
January 14, 95.
Where were you born?
Naples, Florida.
How far did you go in school?
Well,
How far did you go in school?
It was kind of crazy because I didn't complete 8th grade, and they skipped my 9th grade, and they moved to 10th grade.
Okay, so you did some high school.
In the program I did. So
Can you read, write, and understand the English language?
I try. If it's easy for me, I'll try.
Okay, well, the plea form in this case, did your lawyers read it to you?
Yeah, they read it to me.
Okay, did you understand what they read to you?
Yes, I understand.
Do you have any questions?
No, sir.
Did you sign the plea form?
Yes, sir.
Do you suffer from any mental problems?
Not really.
What do you mean by that?
I don't know, just...
Have you ever been diagnosed with any mental issues or mental problems?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you take any medication for anything?
No, sir.
Should you be taking medication for anything?
No, sir.
All right. Has anyone made any promises to you in this case other than the agreed upon sentence if I accept your plea?
No, sir.
Did anyone threaten you to get you to enter a plea of guilty or no contest today?
No, sir.
All right. You're charged with the following. Count 1, second-degree murder with a firearm. Counts 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are each have the allegation of aggravated battery with a firearm, and count 7 is possession of a firearm by a delinquent. To those 7 charges, how do you plead, sir?
No contest.
Do you understand that when you plead no contest that you waive your right to a trial by jury?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that you would waive the following rights? The right to have that jury determine your guilt or innocence, the right to see and hear witnesses testify, have your lawyers cross-examine them, the right to call witnesses and submit evidence, the right to testify or remain silent, the right to require the state to prove your guilt beyond all reasonable doubt, and the right to appeal everything in this case except for the jurisdiction of the court and the legality of the sentence. Do you understand you're waiving those rights?
Would I be able to come back on appeal?
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
I can't hear you.
I understand.
The only thing that you could appeal is if the case is being tried in the wrong county, and if I gave you an illegal sentence, then you could appeal those two issues. Okay. Do you still wish to plead no contest?
Yes, sir.
Are you satisfied with the services of your lawyers?
Yes, sir.
Have they done everything you've asked them to do for you?
Yes, sir.
Do you think this plea is in your best interest?
Yes, sir.
Are you entering it of your own free will?
Yes, sir.
If you're not a United States citizen, you could be deported upon entry of the plea. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
I have to ask everyone that, or advise everyone of that. Do you understand that if the offenses to which you're pleading no contest to, if they were a sexually violent offense or sexually motivated offense, or if you've ever been convicted of one of those types of offenses, that the plea could subject you to involuntary civil commitment as a sexually violent predator upon completion of your sentence?
Why do you? He just has to read that by law.
It doesn't apply to me.
Okay, but do you understand that?
I understand it.
Okay. Does the defense stipulate to factual basis and venue?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I do have a few questions regarding the factual basis. I'd like to inquire of the defendant when Your Honor is finished.
Okay. Do you waive any right that your client may have to a pre-sentence investigation?
PSI, yes, Your Honor.
And is the score sheet with 501.4 points accurate?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you review all the discovery with your client?
Yes, sir.
Is there anything that could be tested for DNA that might exonerate him?
We are not aware of any.
Did the state turn over all of the discovery?
We did, Your Honor.
Is the state aware of any evidence that might be tested for DNA that might exonerate the defendant?
No, Your Honor.
You may inquire, Ms. Fox.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Bonilla, on October 17th of 2015, did you attend an event called ZombiCon in downtown Fort Myers?
Yeah, I went to.
And did you have a gun with you when you went to ZombiCon?
Well, really, I ain't want to buy no gun, but yeah, I did. I had a gun on me.
Did you shoot the gun at ZombiCon?
Not at the people.
Did you shoot a gun at ZombiCon?
Yes, I did.
Did you kill Expavious Tyrell Taylor with that gun?
I ain't even know. I ain't shoot him.
Did Expavious Tyrell Taylor die because he was shot at ZombiCon?
Well, he died, yeah.
And you shot the gun where the bullet killed Expavious Tyrell Taylor, correct?
You had to protect myself.
Did you shoot and injure 5 other people who you now know the names of David Perez, Kaddyami Baruh, Kyle Roberts, Isaiah Knight, and Tyree Hunter?
I ain't know them, but they got hit.
You know those are their names now, right? Later in time, you know that's who they were.
She's not asking me. I ain't gonna answer all them questions, man. I'm gonna go ahead and plead. I understand the charges. I'm gonna plead no contest.
Judge, he doesn't know these individuals by name. They're all strangers.
I believe he answered my last question, Your Honor, to my
Okay.
satisfaction. And Mr. Bonilla, you have had lengthy discussions with your attorneys this morning over whether or not to enter this plea, haven't you?
Yes.
Yes.
Over an hour's worth, is that correct?
Yes.
And you had time to speak to your family also this morning?
I spoke to my mom.
You spoke to your mom?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you need to speak to anyone else before you enter this plea? And you've been emotional this morning. So we want to make sure you're in the right frame of mind. Are you making this decision yourself and with a clear mind?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you, State.
Mr. Bonilla, I find that you're freely and voluntarily entering the plea of no contest. I find that there is a factual basis and venue is proper. I further find that you've had the benefit of competent counsel to represent you in this case. Thus, I accept your plea of no contest to counts 1 through 7. I do adjudicate you guilty on all 7 counts. Is there any legal reason why I shouldn't impose sentence?
Your Honor, at this time, we do have some family members of the deceased victim present in the courtroom, and they would like to address the court.
They may do so.
Thank you so much, Your Honor.
Mr. Bonilla can take a seat.
Your Honor, if I could call forward Ms. Amanda Andrews and Ms. Ray to the podium.
Do you each swear or affirm to tell the truth?
Yes,
Put your hand down. Who would like to go first?
I'll speak.
Would you tell me your name, ma'am?
Amanda Andrews.
Okay, you can go ahead.
Um,
And you take your time. We are in no rush.
May I inquire of her, Your Honor,
You may.
to help her with this? Thank you. Ms. Andrews,
yes.
what is your relationship
I'm his
to
sister.
Expavious Tyrell? Okay. And do you have some pictures with you of Expavious Tyrell Taylor that you'd like to show the court?
Yes.
All right, I'm showing you this one. What does this show? Did he go by Tyrell?
Yes.
What does this show about Tyrell?
This is a picture from graduation,
And where was he graduating from?
Clewiston High School.
About how long ago was this?
He graduated in 2015.
And what did he go on to do after he graduated from high school?
He went on to ASA College in Miami to study for a mortician and play football.
So at the time that he was shot and killed, was he in college?
Yes.
And he was playing football?
Yes.
Was he there on a scholarship?
Yes, ma'am.
And had he taken a break for the week from the football program?
It was his bye week because they didn't have a game that week. So it was the bye week and he was home for that weekend.
What was he studying?
Mortician.
I'm going to show you now this picture and show it to the court. What is this a picture of?
Homecoming night.
And this is Tyrell on homecoming night?
Yes.
And about how old was he in this picture?
He was 18.
And how about this picture of Tyrell? What was he doing here?
Basketball.
About how old was he in this picture?
He was 17 on that picture.
Describe the loss that your family has suffered with the loss of your brother, Expavious Tyrell Taylor.
The loss.
I know it's very difficult to put it into words. As best you can, talk about yourself, your siblings. I know this is, I think, a family friend here. Tell us your name.
Shaniqua Ray.
Shaniqua Ray. Tell us about the loss to your grandmother, Estella.
It was very hurting for my grandmother. She actually... We just lost our grandmother October 8th.
Your grandmother passed away very recently.
She basically gave up. She had stage 4 cancer. She beat it the first time. It came back 2 years later and she didn't fight.
And what about you and your brother and the other members of your family? Is it hard for you to put into words the loss that you feel from losing Tyrell?
It's devastating. He was a gentle giant. He didn't bother anybody. He just wanted to be successful.
And he was working very hard toward that goal, wasn't he?
Yes.
Is there anything else you'd like to say, ma'am?
No.
Okay. Miss Ray, did you want to say something?
Tyrell was very outgoing. He was very energetic. He was a loving person. He loved his nieces, his nephew. You know, he loved his brother, his sister, his grandma. And it hit really hard when he, you know, when everything was said and done. He's not here, you know. And it's very hard. It's very hard for their family. Because now she has to take on, you know, being that her grandma passed, she has to take on the role of taking care of her disabled brother. Plus she has her own kids, you know. And this right here, I witness. I'm there every day. And it's hard. Something that she, you know, trying to get over, but it's something you can never get over. It was her brother. It was the last of them from her mom kids. He was the baby.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
Okay. Well, I appreciate the fact that both of you came into court today, and I really appreciate that you took the time and you had the courage to come up and speak to me in front of all these people that you don't know. That's very, very hard for a lot of people, but especially when you're hurting. And I feel your pain. I see it on your faces. I heard it in your voices. And I wish I could say something that would make you feel better. But I know that's impossible because it was a tragedy and a tremendous loss for each of you and your family and all of Tyrell's friends. So I do feel sorry for you, and you have my condolences. Even though it's been a while now, you still have those. So once again, thank you for coming in and talking to me.
Thank you.
Y'all can take your seats. Anything else, Ms. Fox?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Masori, anything from your side?
No, sir.
Judge, there's one thing.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Bonilla would like to say goodbye to his family.
When I'm done with sentencing, if he wishes to verbalize that, I'll let him do that. Okay. You can please stand, Mr. Bonilla. Mr. Bonilla, having accepted your plea of no contest, on count one, I sentenced you to 30 years in the Department of Corrections with a 25-year minimum mandatory. On counts 2 through 6, I sentenced you to 20 years Department of Corrections under the 1020 life statute. On count 7, I sentenced you to 15 years Department of Corrections. All those counts run concurrent, which means at the same time. You're entitled to credit time served of 687 days. You're to provide a DNA sample to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement DNA database. I reduced to judgment the monetary obligations in this case, which include a $413 court cost assessment, $500 cost of prosecution, $100 to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. Is there any restitution that needs to be addressed?
Your Honor, we would ask that you order and reserve on restitution, please.
I order and reserve on restitution for 90 days to all victims in this case. Have I covered it all?
Your Honor, I believe I overlooked the $151, the Rape Crisis Trust Fund, and the DV surcharge that are associated with aggravated battery counts. I don't believe that'll affect the plea, but those are mandatory costs, as Your Honor knows, are statutorily prescribed.
I think you're right. Those are required on those counts, correct, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay. By law, I have to assess $201 domestic violence surcharge, $151 to the Rape Crisis Trust Fund. Those are reduced to judgment as well. You have 30 days to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed. stand over the bailiff for prints. And when he's done with that, if he wants to verbally tell his family goodbye, you can do that. Let him do that. Thank you. You can release the jurors for this afternoon. I'm sure Amanda's been